if they want their team to succeed, especially with the performances that we have seen come out of Alpha. It has always been on the back foot of Your River as we go ahead and load on into Champion Select. Alpha going to be on your blue side, Machi on the red.
It blows my mind that both of these junglers, Your River and Gemini, have the exact same pick for Summer. Lee Sin, Trundle, and Graves. They're very identical in their styles, and therefore it's just a matter of execution. Who's going to do it better? Will these teams shut down the Graves? Will they not allow that to be unleashed? Will they remove the Trundle despite the nerfs? Will they remove the Lee Sin as well?
Instead, though, they opt to get rid of the Karma and Senna. Two champions that we haven't seen in actual bans for a long piece, as maybe there's some secret scrims that have been going on, and people have heard the rumors of the menacing Karma mid of Mission, or possibly Koala, or even that Senna coming out from Wei Lun, which I do believe he did play back earlier on in the split, or it might have been your stand as well. But nonetheless, Twisted Fate, though, I like that ban out against Mission, especially with the amount of priority that has come out during drafts toward Twisted Fate globally.
Yeah, pretty decent ban considering, again, can be flexed either towards the mid lane, especially Senna as well, on those two roles. In the meantime, for Machi, removing another jungle on the board, as we'll have to see whether or not who's going to get the Trundle is the biggest question, as I feel like these two teams really do favor the Trundle pick.
Let's see, though. Nidalee going to be banned out here on the side of Machi, so getting rid of something that could be aggressive in the jungle. Maybe we'll see whether or not the Graves is. That is interesting. A blue side Varus ban. So maybe Wei Lun just does not have Varus in his champ pool, or maybe there's a little bit. Actually, yeah. Why would you ban Varus against Machi? Bruce has never played Varus. He doesn't play Varus. So this is actually, I think, a misstep coming out from the coaching staff or scouting of Zhao Ya for Alpha.
Makes me wonder, yeah. And at this point, Graves is actually open for the side of Alpha. Will they try to first pick that, try to deny that away from Gemini, as Gemini had a really, really stellar performance on the Graves, I believe, back at the MSS? We'll have to see.
Well, it does mean, though, if they pick up the Graves or possibly the Trundle, it does mean Aphelios could easily go on over to Bruce, and that's always been kind of the fallback for Bruce, outside of the Ezreal pick that he usually likes to always go on to. And there you go, Your River going to be on the troll himself as that gets locked in for Alpha.
I know you may not like the Ezreal pick. It's a big possibility that Bruce will fall back into the Ezreal. He has picked that 4 times already throughout the whole summer, at least, for Machi. Lots of flexibility that can go towards the set. Could be in the jungle, could be towards PK, perhaps maybe in Koala for the support role.
All right, so there is some flexibility at least coming out of this draft on the side of Machi. We'll see whether or not they're able to run with anything now as getting ourselves set. Do they want to go ahead and get that Graves for Gemini? He looks like one of the cleanest Graves you could possibly have back at MSS. We'll see whether or not he's been able to return to form here in week 3 of summer as it gets locked in for Machi.
I don't think there's any threat whatsoever for Machi to lock in their AD carry, because never mind, as I think this could be... Okay, this is the second time that we're going to be seeing Wei Lun on the Aphelios if he does decide to lock it in, but I like this. I like this pickup because it is a good denial, because Bruce is very comfy with the Ezreal pick, and because of the Zoe pick, this is a really strong poke composition that Alpha is forming.
A lot of poke coming out of Alpha. We'll see whether or not Machi have an answer, because you always have something that can hard engage like this set, so not end of the world. And we have some flexibility as now that Kalista going to get locked in. I don't believe we saw PK ever played up in the top lane. That has been one of the fallbacks usually for Bruce in bot side.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce has picked a lot of Kalista back at Spring, also only once. For Bruce, again, he was very comfortable on that Ezreal pick. In the meantime, though, second rotation of bans, still looking towards the mid lane on towards Mission, possibly hoping to see what Alpha will try to remove, possibly the Syndra, or as well as the LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's usually been the go-to answer for a Zoe blind pick, especially. That's my one concern about this draft is they are leaving themselves open to both of their solo lanes getting counterpicked on the side of Alpha if this set gets rotated down into bot lane for like a wombo combo with the Kalista. That is still a possibility. Wukong, though, going to be banned out here from Alpha, so they do actually expect maybe the set may not be going top lane in a solo lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Possibly maybe Alpha decides to ban out the Volibear too, just as we've seen in our game number 1. For Machi, removing any of the support options, as well as that pairing of the Ezreal in, as well as that Braum. Whether or not your son will fall back into a little bit more aggressive, like perhaps the Thresh and as well as Nautilus, to provide even more engage options.
All right here, so there you go. Getting rid of that Braum, as well as the Ornn, forgot to mention, for Machi. Just getting rid of that heavy, big front line. And speaking of a front line, that's going to try and disrupt your back line. It's that Mordekaiser getting taken away here from PK. This is, again, a little bit of a weird draft. This is pretty much forcing that set to go likely into the top lane if they want to try and play something tanky. We'll see here. What is going to be the play? Likely now an Orianna pickup here for Mission in mid.
A pretty safe pick. And you mentioned a lot of wombo combo too. You've got the Kalista in the set, and you add in the ball in a shockwave, allowing PK to enter the fight. Maybe Koala entering the fight, where the set is going to go. I think this is a pretty solid mid game to late game composition actually.
Ooh, but get ourselves set possibly now for the Leona, as that could get locked in here for Alpha, and that allows them to add in a bit of hard engage onto the back line, try and lock down Bruce on that Kalista, or even maybe catch out Mission if he's not careful.
Yeah, makes me wonder what Alpha decides to put at top side. Will Bush go back to maybe get Renekton, try to deny that away from PK as well? So it's going to be a 2 birds in 1 stone. You're going to have a really solid mid game as well. And very strong team fighting in the maybe mid objectives. And there you go. It is going to be the Renekton pick.
All right, so now we get to see, does this set go up into the top lane, or is Koala going to try and bring something else to the table? Maybe try and go like an Enchanter if you want to try and do something, but that'd be a bit risky going up into the Leona. It could just instantly collapse in on you during the lane if you're not careful, and we'll see what the play is going to be on the side of Machi. Looks like the flex is coming out from the set. That means we're going to get ourselves a volley lock-in, likely for PK in top lane.
It just means Alpha really wanted to get this. They would rather not get PK's Mordekaiser and would select the Volibear instead at top side. And it's actually very interesting. We're going to be seeing PK and Bush going at it at top, and I feel like it will really heavily contribute to what the junglers will decide to do, because I feel like this is going to be a top side focus matchup.
Oh yeah, especially. We're going to have ourselves a bit of action. I'm interested to see. Usually, like, the one thing I've had a gripe about when it comes to the Volibear picks is usually we see it into the jungle, and usually we don't get to see a whole lot of dives. And I'll be frank, I don't expect PK to be able to find a lot of dives in onto a Renekton. I feel like that's going to be still a safe matchup for Bush, and I'm not too sure where Machi expect to try and snowball this game. I think it is pretty much, farm for 15, 20 minutes, and then look for those big wombo combos with these ultimate.
And the fact that you've also got the Trundle to be able to smoothen or soften the Volibear as well, which makes it a little bit difficult if ever your River decides to be more pressuring at top side.
Well, we'll see how this one's going to play out. Alpha looking for their second win of the season. Machi looking to try and solidify themselves, try and shape back up to the form we saw in the second half of spring and into the playoffs. We'll see whether or not they're able to do just that as we go ahead and load on into the Rift.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We'll see whether or not, Machi are able to bring in the bouncy castle, for the pool party, obviously. And we're going to have ourselves a mid lane, apparently.
There's a pool party in the mid lane.
I didn't actually think they would do pool party Orianna. I'm going to be completely honest. I was still on the fence about that. I don't know how I don't know what I was expecting. This was kind of what I was expecting, but
It works well, right? The skirt is the
the tube.
the tube. Yes.
What do you even call those? I call it like, I think what did we used to call those? Like I think back, like in Canada, whenever we went to like a water park, I think it was called we called them a tube.
A tube.
A tube or
In
a
the-
ring. I don't think we actually had like a floaty ring. I don't think that's
floaty.
Like,
That's adorable.
The scientific. I don't think we call it a floaty ring. I don't know what people call it. I know they call like the floaties the thing you put on your arms when you're like a kid. I think.
Yeah. The floaty arm.
You know what?
Oh well.
Oriana, she can call the ring whatever she wishes. Apparently, it's a
Absolutely.
skirt. Apparently. Nonetheless, it is going to be Gemini starting on to the red buff, similar to what we see from Your River, and already Bush trying to get some quick trades in on PK at that early level 1.
Ooh, really, really nicely done. It's just really difficult considering, again, Renekton very, very strong once you're level 3, but for PK, likes to take advantage and try to abuse the weak level 1 of a Renekton. So this works out pretty well.
Oh, but
Your
look
River,
at
though.
this. Your River already
Oh, no.
pathed, and PK forced the flash away as he ended up taking biked immediately. So, unfortunately for him, has to burn his summoner to keep himself safe. As Your River, just his presence alone with the pillar, able to get the summoner off that volley bear.
And it's perfect, too. Your River can try to take advantage of the lack of summoner spell that PK will not have in the next few seconds. In the meantime, though, it's the perfect setup. I'll be a little bit worried for PK. But just as you mentioned, when it comes to diving, it's going to be a little bit risky considering, again, as a Renekton, you can get easily outplayed. And the fact that Your River as well on the Trundle just makes it even harder.
He's still
Take
coming
2.
up here. For PK, he's got 2 members in his lane, and because he saw the ward go down, he knows he can actually take this path, and I'm interested. Are they actually going to try and force a dive here? Level 3 is hit for PK. I don't know if Your River's actually going to try this. They're going to show now, so we'll see whether or not that's going to be the play. Puts down the ground and immediately just pressing on forward.
Oh, wow.
Aggro is going to be taken by Your River. In comes that Sky Splitter, though, and Your River forced to flash away as they cannot finish off the kill on PK. Second attempt, though. We'll see how it goes as Bush is the one that needs to do what he can. But still, PK, he's just, going back and forth. Another Sky Splitter is going to come back on out. Shield is still there, and they're playing ring around the Rosie. He gets the stun. Bush has to flash to safety. That's one of the messiest dives you can get, but in the end, Alpha still strike with first blood.
I gotta say, that was still well played. Machi, though, making their way towards bot.
Let's see, though. Bruce underneath the tower is going to get exhausted. Teleport comes out immediately. Bruce a little bit too close to the action, and in the end, he is able to survive as Bush now trying to get the answer back, but it won't be enough as Mission also pathed down, puts a little bit of shielding onto that set. And there you go. Bruce able to get himself back to safety. Kill win on over to Gemini.
Yeah, Waylon will be the sacrifice, but let's take a look at this dive again. So, Your River hoping to get extra health at least after a while, but they ran around this tower and, Alpha for me, they still executed it well to the point that no one died. But if ever, I'd be worried if Gemini actually made his way through topside.
I don't know if we need to do as many kill music, but in the end, it's still going to be that kill going on over. And I think we wanted to talk a lot about this jungle matchup in particular, as both junglers are going to have to be the ones that make plays on the map, because most of the time their lanes are rather passive. They'd rather just kind of farm away, and so far that has been the case with Your River on the top side of the map, Gemini focusing toward Bruce on the bot side.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that, Mission will definitely require Gemini if they do want to get at least a kill. But again, this is Mission. We're talking about having to sort of sit in the lane for 15 minutes while Gemini focuses either on towards top side. In this case, it is going to be the bottom side of the map. Get Bruce ahead on towards this Callista. Actually get himself ahead on towards this Graves. And we can see pings coming from Alpha at the moment. See whether or not they can take advantage of Mission.
Oh, it does burn his flash as their observers are really fascinated with this wave down on bot side. There you go. You can see the remains of a lone flash pick up there for Chen 9 if he wishes to go for it. Your River, though, already pathing down toward this bot lane once again. Unfortunately, no level 6 for that Leona, so it's rather difficult to go for a dive onto Bruce and Koala. PK got to be careful himself as already Executioners picked up for Bush.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna try to get a little bit of dueling later, especially come level 6. That'll be a little bit difficult, especially if Bush managed to trade properly before going to an all-in. Actually, they're fighting.
That's a level 6 hit by Bush.
I just said all
you
in.
know what? He looked at PK and he said, I'm going to go ahead and crack open a cold one as there you go. That's also first plate going on over to the Renekton. What the heck happened? Let's just see. Yeah, it just jumps in. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't use the Sky Splitter on the volley to expect to get the shielding in because Renekton can just shred that away.
Absolutely, and that is unfortunate. For PK, again, that one kill really did help, and your River can focus elsewhere instead. You know, for Alpha, they're fine. Well, Chen 9, though, may not be fine.
Mission
One
may not
whack.
be fine. Oh, just gets the healing in time off the Ignite, so keep himself safe as Gemini and Koala come in as both mid laners limping away with barely any health. But they will both survive, it seems, as Bruce is just going to solo up in this bot lane, as trying to soak up as much XP as, look at this, Gemini, Koala, the squad, looking for a roam. As they get the invade onto red buff, use that blast cone to come on over. We'll see if Koala's going to be able to make a play himself. He's just going to come around the corner, say hi, as your son and Wei Lun already backing off.
Looks like that's not going to be the case. They're trying to... Well, they're not exactly fast pushing this wave, so Gemini's path towards going back to base. No dive will be seen for the bottom side of the map. In the meantime, though, Mission did lose his cleanse. No flash either. So I'm hoping to see whether or not your River will make his way back in the mid lane, as Mission has been trying to hug the tower, trying to freeze the wave at least to be in a safer position.
And it seems like the volley bearers of the PCS, they're starting to feel a little bit, they're starting to feel the hurt. All right, we saw this with Shetsukai from Resurgence when it was picked up as that kind of flex pick that came out, and you know, PK, he's starting to fall about 30 CS behind. He won't be able to soak up that wave, but that does give Prio over to Alpha on the top side of the map. Koala got to be a little bit careful. A nice bubble going to land, though, onto Mission. And you can kind of see Machi playing into the chaos of Alpha. Alpha, though, 5 members still strong in this River. Mission does have ultimate available. Zenith Blade connects there on Koala. Still no level 6, though, for that set. PK, he kind of wants to come in and play, but unfortunately doesn't have a good angle. And with that, Alpha and Machi both going to disengage. Rift Herald over to Alpha.
Okay, this is great. We said before the draft, Alpha for sure, 100%. They're going to get the lead. Big question is whether or not they can try to snowball this. They can make, push the lead further, especially Bruce winning his lane against PK. Especially that they have a really solid mid game that we did mention. And with that said, Gemini not exactly spinning out of control. And Machi will really have to respect the Renekton pick, considering the fact that this will be Bruce's kryptonite come the 5v5s. It'll be either the flank teleports, either the full-on dives. Your River funneling a little bit more gold towards Bruce here as they let go of this Rift Herald at top side.
There you go. Plate's going to go on over. First brick gold going there over to the Renekton, and poor PK starting to fall a bit behind in this lane. Not going to lie. Not a fun time if you're a volley bear. You kind of have to sit back and just be like, well, I'm a bear. I'm going to have to wait for a little bit. Not really. In hibernation as you were, as Wei Lun have to get himself back to 6 feet as he ends up using that heal immediately. As the dive was going to come through from Gemini if he did not get away with that Arcane Shift.
The Arcane Shift, and as well as a heal consumed, no level 6 just yet. They are pretty much behind in levels here, as Bruce is able to soak up solo experience from earlier, as Koala has been roaming a little bit. Therefore, Alpha bot lane duo has been sticking around. A little bit behind on level, so they gotta respect that level lead against the Machi duo enemy bot lane. Chen 9, though, chunked a bit.
He's chunked a bit. Looking for that bubble. A little bit late there. I think he was just waiting on the cooldown, I guess, so can't actually get that full damage onto Mission. This Orianna hasn't been only threatened once by your River in the first 10 minutes of the map. Chen almost also got himself a kill, but unfortunately was just not able to finish him off. So that does mean Mission is going to kind of go back into the style that we talked about earlier, where usually in lane he's able either to win or he goes either. And that's usually great for the squad. Team doesn't have to worry about him. He's stable. He's a pillar in the mid lane of the map. But now come the team fights, I want to see some good Orianna ultimates, because I know a lot of the Orianna so far in the PCS have been a little bit lackluster, to say the very least. We've seen, G4 as well as, I think it was, Chen9 himself that missed about 5 back-to-back shockwaves.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, for the 5v5s for later. It's just the big question whether or not Machi is willing to take that, as Alpha has been great. Again, they're going to use this poke composition to just basically unleash all the skill shots against Machi around certain objectives, and it has been working out in their favor. They do have reliable engage, though, in the form of Koala, at least, again, with the wombo combos, but we haven't exactly seen that just yet. It's still too early anyways.
Can we also talk about the fact that Bruce is up 50, 60 CS in bot lane at the moment? We didn't get to mention this. Poor Wei Lun has been forced out of lane multiple times, and he's gone call tier, which is like, all right, I guess I do nothing for another 5 to 10 minutes until he comes online. And Bruce here, he's been pretty on the Callista. That's actually a big power swing that I think we forgot to mention, as that's going to be second dragon of the game going on over to Machi. And now Alpha, Shockwave going to land into a volley bear ultimate, bring down the storm, as that's going to be a kill going on over to Mission. Instantly traded back, though, is Bush diving in to get the kill, but does get taken down by Gemini. 2 for 1 in favor of Machi.
Yeah, going back to your point, Bruce is 2 levels ahead of Wei Lun, too, so that is actually very unfortunate. There's no vision here. Chen9 Bush did not respect the lack of vision over towards that river part, and therefore had to be punished. Good thing, though, Bush is able to at least exchange a kill. But that's going to be shutdown gold available.
Solar Flare comes out, trying to get the kill onto Koala. Unfortunately, Haymaker is there to prevent any more damage from Wei Lun. Going back to the fact of this bot lane, this is super concerning for Alpha. Considering they do have they did have a slight gold advantage, but it was all on Bush. Now that Bush has actually been taken down, you start to realize all the pressure, all this gold is onto this Renekton. This Ezreal has been pretty much starved for cash at this point. He is going to be a long while before he actually is able to come online. Even if Yurson hits a Solar Flare, you saw Koala was only at half health and he didn't even use a Haymaker.
At least, having the pickaxe will sort of help in the laning phase, have a little bit of impact once the skill shots actually land. But yeah, it has been a tough lane. You just mentioned, a tier and as well as a cull. At least that pickaxe will help a little bit. Comes to that.
Hopefully it's not made out of wood. Hopefully it's made out of diamond. That's what, Wei Lun's hoping for. So there you go. Back into another reset. I feel like Machi, the game plan is pretty clear here. They're like, all right, you know what? We have absolute full control on the bot side of the map. Let's just continue to stack up these dragons, and we'll get ourselves Mountain Soul around that, 24-minute mark. And even here, Bruce is underneath tower solo. And here, Son and Wei Lun cannot step up because there is the threat of Koala looking for an easy dive, and they realize they have to give this over. That is now solo turret gold going onto this Callista, and likely going to be the Born completed here on the next back, as well as going into your next attack speed item.
Yeah, they had no idea where Gemini is. They don't have a lot of advanced vision towards the river, therefore they had to really respect the fact that perhaps Gemini is going to make another visit. Here that we see Alpha, though, getting a lot of control over top side, which is totally understandable considering, again, Bush had a humongous lead against PK. And again, they are banking on Renekton, having to eliminate Bruce. But the big problem is there's a ton of peel, a ton of protection.
That was nice, though, coming out. A nice pillar forces Bruce to have to use his flash to get himself back to safety. So Alpha have a little bit of life in them, not to worry. Realizing, okay, we cannot allow Machi just easily go ahead and take this first tier tower. No teleport available for Koala. He is running Ignite in this case and not a spellbook. Rift Herald will be popped here in mid. Do look at PK though, and Mission and Gemini waiting in the wings, wanting to jump in on a play. Rift Herald is going to storm forward. In comes that Volley Bear, forces out the flash from Gen 9, but unfortunately, tower will still go in favor of Alpha.
Nicely done. You know, Machi was absolutely distracted to the fact that they wanted to punish, you know, Alpha for wanting to destroy the tower, and it got off 2 charges on towards that Rift Herald instead of just one, having for them to funnel all the damage. And unfortunately, that was not even the real flash of Chen 9. And with that said, Machi, good attempt. For Alpha, great job just trying to get objectives, leaving after they've managed to finish their mission.
All right, so at least Alpha are able to trade back an objective with that Rift Herald, open up the midsection of the map that will allow them to actually get some vision into Machi's jungle and maybe try and, you know, fish out a play. If Gemini's pathing near a wall, Chen 9 will be able to get a good bubble. Still though, bottom side of the map, full control for Machi, and that is the problem here for Alpha, considering they're now going to have the 3rd dragon of the game spawning in 30 seconds.
Just as you mentioned, no control just yet as Alpha is making their way.
Oh no.
Machi, though, circling around.
It's ring around the rosy again. Yusan gonna go ahead, Zenith Blade, trying to get himself back over to safety. Solar Flare does land onto Koala. In comes True Shot Barrage. Not a whole lot of damage though. Again, Waylon still a long while before that goes in. PK over the wall into the Shockwave. Not gonna land as that's actually 2 ultimates burned by Machi. Both big team fight ultimates that won't be available for this ensuing dragon fight.
We've got, no Solar Flare available, no Shockwave. Machi, though, very reliant on their ults. They still have one at least, which is the Fate's Call for Bruce.
Oh boy. Machi, though, they've been able to path their way into the pit. PK just going to try and run over toward your river. Dragon does reset. 2,000 health now. We'll see who's actually able to take it. In goes Ascent onto the back line, trying to make the play. 3rd dragon secured by Machi, but what will they lose here? Low health bars on the side, though, of Alpha. Bruce could pop off, but unfortunately just can't get in range for more auto attacks on those squishy members, and still lacking the rune hands. Chen 9 tries to get himself in the danger zone. Unfortunately, has to back off as a decent amount of damage comes out from Mission. In the end, 1 member of Machi will fall. In exchange, though, they are able to pick up their 3rd dragon. Now looking at Soul Point on the next spawn.
I was so afraid because a lot of the Alpha members were incredibly low, and I was looking at Gemini's ult. It was not available. There was no Graze ult, but in the meantime, Koala's sacrifice is definitely very much worse. They're 1 point away from that Dragon Soul, just as you mentioned, and Bush being holding on towards that flash will be absolutely needed if he wants to reach the target that they really need to eliminate, which is Bruce here on the Callista.
All right, so now Alpha, you have to have it in the back of your minds. Okay, we are running kind of a poke composition in the form of a Zoe and Ezreal being our main sources of damage, and you have to kind of wonder, okay, we can't really give over Mountain Soul. That's not going to help us out a lot during these fights, considering, Bruce now has almost Flame Horizon Waylon. We did praise you, Waylon, for being a rather impressive rookie. So far, though, Bruce has kind of, brought out, he's like, welcome to the big boys club. This is my Callista. This is your Ezreal. Bring in the smacking. As that's now going to be 1st tier tower in top lane being taken here from Machi, as that will now allow them to take every 1st tier tower.
Exactly, full control now for Machi. They've regained control. Baron is going to be spawning in a few seconds, and I feel like that is something that Alpha will definitely want to contest for later. And at the same time, Machi will be comfortable because on how ahead Bruce is, it's just so incredibly difficult to try and steal objectives away from Machi with the Rend. And in the meantime, Alpha will try to exchange towers from bot to top side instead.
There we go. 20 minutes now. A slight gold advantage for Machi. Still sitting pretty as you take a look at that gold ranking. All of Alpha's gold pretty much on that Renekton. Man, it is not a great feeling when your jungle has more gold than your Ezreal. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. Poor Waylon had himself a rough game, and he's now a full item behind of Bruce, who has now just finished off his Runan, so that Callista's now come online for these team fights. So if anyone gets caught out by that Shockwave, if anyone gets taken out by PK or brought down to a low health bar, you can always assume Bruce is just going to be around a corner applying the Ren stacks.
And it's quite possible, or actually pretty easy to set up, considering you've got 3 melee ranged champions on the opposite side of Alpha, which is definitely, you know, that chunky front line for Alpha in general. And for Machi, they've got a lot of choices where to put their shockwave into, the ball into rather, to set up for that shockwave, either on Koala once the Fate Call is unleashed, or PK once he ults in the middle of a fight. And that is definitely going to be key. And I will be actually very scary around, you know, Baron pits if Alpha is the one that initiates the Baron. Unfortunately, though, I feel like for Alpha, they will have to wait it out a little bit as Machi has regained full control now in the 20-minute mark for this game.
So
Runan's actually completed already for Bruce, so
yeah,
that's a really, really good spike for Machi.
there is the Muramana at least stacked here for Wei Lun, though, so he's at least starting to get a little bit of his damage back, though he is going into Iceborne, which means he's going to try and survive a little bit of the damage, but Bush, he may have all the gold on this Renekton. Does mean, though, he can't 1v4 yet. With that, second tier tower and bot lane can be taken here by Machi.
Alpha is very crippled at the moment. And we did mention, you know, they've got a really strong mid game, and at this point, Machi has absolutely full control because their growth, the growth of Bush, didn't exactly align well. I mean, the growth of Wei Lun did not align well on towards, you know, Bush at the top side. Therefore, Alpha lost a bit of confidence, despite having a lot of options for hard engage and as well as poke with their poke composition. In the meantime, though, perhaps they are going to try poke them out in the next dragon, try to deny that Dragon Soul away from Machi, which is going to be extremely important. At this point, I'll be very scared for Alpha.
All right, Soul Point on the board. Let's see whether or not Machi are able to secure it. Your River already, to see, trying to act as that, you know, barrier. As in goes the set for the deep showstopper. Soul Flare comes out. Fate's Call is going to get him back to safety. True Shot Barrage ends up banning on the shot. Mission still has Shockwave available. PK still has the Stormbringer available. You can see Machi a little bit split, but meanwhile, decent damage. Mission has to back off, ends up going down to about 300 health, and maybe that amount of poke is enough for Alpha to secure control around this dragon, but you can see they're a little bit low onto their decision. They don't know whether or not Mission has back to base. They do see now Bruce is going to try and go mid to try and get some prio. They take down Koala finally, so Alpha have an opportunity to deny Soul Point.
And the fact that Mission does not have teleport too, they're now working their way. It's going to be a 5v3.
Here we go, though. Solar Flare not available, but Zenith Blade does land. A nice Trouble Bubble is going to put down on PK. Goes unstoppable. Oh my goodness! Damage rolls back, and like that, Bruce has come into the fray. Dragon is secured by Alpha, but they do lose 2 members on the side of Alpha.
The chase is not over yet, though. Chen 9 might be in the middle of it all, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, now that means that Drake is now worth 3 bodies, as that is now going to be Bruce picking up his second kill of the game. And like that, they are at least able to stall out the Soul Point, but they do lose members.
I think what hurt them the most is the fact that they did not know whether or not Mission went back to base. Imagine this time window. If they went all in, it was a 5v3 situation for a good amount of seconds. But the priority at this point was definitely focused on denying that Dragon Soul. In the meantime, though, it just really bought some time. And with that said, it is a 4v5 situation where it's enough. We did mention everybody's going to be in melee range. That means you're going to be in range of that shockwave. Therefore, Wei Lun and as well as Chen 9 will not have that front line that they needed.
You see, though, Baron has been started here by Machi. 3,000 health. It doesn't look like Alpha are going to be able to respond with Bruce's Ren stacks as an easy secure. Now Engage comes out from Koala. Facebreaker into the collateral damage. Shockwave is available for Mission. Actually already on cooldown. And you saw, don't even need it, as that's the flash forward coming out from PK, looking to try and now lock down Gen 9. Stun follows on through. Baron and 3 more kills in the pocket of Machi.
Whew. Well, I mean, they don't get that Earth Drake. They don't get that Mountain Drake, rather, that Mountain Soul. But you know what? Baron is very good, too. And unfortunately, Alpha, with those HP bars, they will definitely not be very confident entering this fight. And again, we did mention, you know, a lot of hard engage from the side of Machi as well, which makes it very difficult for Alpha to have space to actually poke them out in objectives. And in the meantime, though, Bush is able to at least remove Koala, but it's a little bit too late as Baron has already been acquired by Machi.
And now it's whether or not Alpha are going to be able to weather out this storm, the siege that will come out from Machi. The simple fact that we got some okay wave clear in the form of a Zoe Ezreal, but still, it's an Iceborne Ezreal, so yeah, not the greatest. On top of that, too, it's now a Flame Horizon for Bruce. Bruce right now putting on a bit of a clinic on how to go toe-to-toe against Wei Lun. And with that, second tier tower going to be pressured upon here by Machi. True Shot Barrage doesn't even get the minions to half health. Not a whole lot Alpha can do.
Yeah, definitely not a whole lot. Let's see if whether or not Alpha is able to defend against this wave, against the next few waves that is about to arrive, as that's still 1 minute more or less. Look at Bruce moving forward.
Yeah, Bruce don't care at this point. There isn't a whole lot of threats, as that's now also going to be a teleport coming out from Machi. Machi are very much putting down the pressure and saying, all right, Alpha, you have to do something or we will take your base. Something has to happen. You have to make your last stand. DK into the back line, disables both towers. Now teleport, though, going to come back out from Bush. Wants to rejoin on the fight as Renekton. Fate's Call comes out, not able to find the knockup, but Bruce stepping forward has the Runans, able to find himself the first kill, flashing in forward.
No.
Going to go ahead, take down Wei Lun. Your River, unfortunately, with barely any health himself. Chen going to try and do the same, but Bruce, a one-man army on the Callista, does not care. Almost takes down the Zoe in the fountain. And like that, Machi firmly put Alpha in their place, taking them down before 28 minutes.
It's the Bruce show for this game in particular, and Machi looks like they didn't even break a sweat. It looked really good for Alpha, especially they managed to give Bush an early lead, but bot lane was actually suffering greatly in the hands of Bruce.
And there you go, an easy pickup there on the side of Machi, where unfortunately for Alpha, I think you just kind of get a little bit outclassed when it comes into these matchups. Unfortunately, like, we didn't get to go too hard on it during the lane phase because it was kind of a little bit more of the PK show up in top lane up against Bush where Alpha were succeeding, but bot lane, there was such a difference between this Callista and Ezreal already at like 10 minutes. He had double his CS.
I mean, it was great the first gank at top side against Bush, but we didn't really see your River matching, you know, Gemini's constant pestering at the bot lane and furthering Bruce's lead. And I think that was a very, very huge issue that they had to deal with come mid game, which was their strength. We saw how effective the poke composition in one instance at the Dragon sent Mission home, but after that, it was absolutely too late because Bruce was just too ahead in this game.
Yeah. And we didn't even get to see, like, the big wombo combo come out from Machi. These fights were so scattered, they weren't all clustered at all. We didn't really see that, you know, big dive into the bot side of Alpha. It wasn't even a bot side dive. It was a dive onto the Nexus towers coming out from PK where he disabled them. And even then, we didn't get to see that big wombo combo shockwave because Machi didn't even need to use it.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. And we saw how Alpha made a desperate move of trying to split push using Bush. He actually managed to reach the bot side inhibitor tower, and the inhibitor was the only thing left. But again, because their poke composition, Machi has just a lot of options. Punish that with heavy engage. And they have a lot of options in the form of, you know, that Stormbringer. They have the Fate's Call, and as well as pretty much everybody else on the team. So it's just very difficult, and Alpha hasn't been able to solidify their lead and take it further.
Yeah, there was good signs through that top lane, but like we mentioned, they just weren't able to move that gold advantage into possibly the mid lane or toward this bot lane. Unfortunately, we are seeing a trend today of our losing teams just kind of starve out the side of the map that is already losing. We saw it back with Liab, with Kanji getting absolutely destroyed at top. This time around, we didn't get to see a whole lot of action coming out of your River toward the bot side map when Wei Lun was just suffering. And these team fights were even such scattered. Like, this looks like a good play coming out from Alpha, but just such an easy turnaround.
Wombos and the combos as apparent. Everybody just trying to dive in and see if they can make a pick, but with the collateral damage and as well as that shockwave is definitely enough to chunk down targets who are not exactly tanky. And at this point, it is basically cleanup. And again, just as you mentioned, it's about willing to sacrifice a certain side of the lane just to propel a lane that you want to bolster. And unfortunately for Bruce, he has won this round.
Yeah, Bruce is going to be the one with the last laugh here as he takes home the victory. Alongside Machi, I do expect him to be MVP, but we'll have to see what production wants to give that one over. Yeah, unfortunately for Alpha, I don't have a whole lot of good things to say. We saw some good stuff in toward the top side. I think that's just the curse of the PCS, though, when it comes to Volleybear.
The Volleybear?
Our Volleybears are not good, unfortunately.
So what's happening is the Kaisa curse from Spring has been lifted and has transferred to the bear.
Yes,
that is sad.
It's gone to the Storm himself in the form of the Volleybear. Unfortunately, instead of a storm, it's more like a little bit of a slight wind so far.
Slight wind.
When it comes to the appearances, at least did find himself a good Stormbringer into the Nexus turrets.
The Nexus tower.
But you know what? It don't matter because at that point, Bruce was already up 100 CS over Wei Lun and had himself a 504 KDA. That's why he's our MVP when it comes to their game up against Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly it was the Renekton was the biggest answer towards Bruce, but it's not going to be enough if he is that far ahead. And at that point, not only a lot of gold lead, but also that level lead, which makes it even harder to try and take him down.
So with that, Bruce kind of comes back into form. We get to see him on something other than the Ezreal for once. And, didn't get to see him on the Aphelios either. Brings out the Callista, and now it's a little bit of a, slight thing in the back of everyone's mind. They say, oh yeah, Bruce was like dominating in his Callista matchup. Maybe we should, consider possibly banning that out. I do have good news though. We have ourselves a slight over interview, so we'll
OK，
throw
那
it
这
on
场
over
比
to
赛的
Patty,
话，
who's
其实
alongside
上路的
Bruce
PK
himself.
他过得不是很舒服。你们是一开始就决定要往下打？
So PK's been having a hard time on the top lane in this game. So did you guys decide to put all the resources on the bottom lane and give it to you?
因为上路是鳄鱼打球嘛，那就是对决线，那他自己打线失误，然后大家有靠，所以就过得不是很好。
So on the top lane is Renekton and Volibear, and I think PK made some mistakes in the laning phase, and that's why he's been having a hard time.
那虽然说 PK 这场比赛他一直被针对了，想请问就是他在比赛过程中，他有跟你们抱怨吗？
So we saw that he's been targeted a lot on the top lane. Did he complain to you guys about it during the game?
他跟我们抱怨过，就是为什么都不去帮他，但他都是第一波被 gank 死了，然后才会有后续的失误。
So he did complain to us that we didn't go up and help him, but because he got ganked, and that's why all the mistakes happened. So it's, I think, his own fault.
OK， 那也非常感谢，也非常恭喜你们获得了胜利，当然也感谢翻译的 Patty。那今天的话呢，刚刚其实我在问那个就是 PK 有没有抱怨的问题的时候，我问题才讲到一半，就看布鲁斯已经开始微笑。
And you heard there, okay. Bruce is like, get over it. You got ganked. We don't care. We're winning bot lane. I love that. I love that Bruce is just like, PK, you know what? You're having a bad game. It happens.
It's
Get
your
over
fault.
it.
Yeah,
It's
that
your
was really
fault.
funny.
Your lane phase was bad. Oh, I love it. I love the flame coming out from the own squad. That's one way to put it. We are going to go ahead, though, and take a short break. When we come back, it is, of course, going to be our next matchup between Nova Esports and Hong Kong Attitude.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.